Okay, well, here we have more ways to work with pivot tables. Let's start by making a pivot table over this data. So I'm going to select it and come to the Insert tab, which is right there, and choose Pivot Table. And I don't want it on a new worksheet. I want it on an existing worksheet. I'm going to say right there and click OK. The first thing I'd like to do is make a pivot table which breaks things down by position and region and number of employees. So let's move down here. Let's go to position and region and number of employees. We can put almost anyone in there and just count the value over here. I'm going to put in last for last name. And I'm going to drag it over here because since it's not a numerical value, it will give us a count. So here we have administrators. We have one in the Northeast and the Southwest. I think it's actually a little bit hard to read this way, so I'm going to put it by region first. So I'm going to drag the region up, and I just think that's easier to read. So we have Midwest, Northeast with all the different groups in here. We only have 5 employees in the Midwest. And this is a very small company, I think 15 total. Another way to get the count of employees is I'm going to remove this. And I could put in salary, which is a number. And I could click the down arrow, value field settings, and choose count. And there you have it. Let's just say I want the salary in there also. So I'm going to drag salary down there again, and this time it's a sum. Supposing I want the percentage of how much different workers make. So what I could do is under sum of salary, click the down arrow, click value field settings, and right here where it says show values as. So click on show values as, and right there it says no calculation. I'm going to click the down arrow and I want the percentage of the grand total. We'll click OK. And now we can see that in the Midwest, 30%, 21%, 17%. Let's just change this so we can tell by position what percentage people are getting. So we can say that administrators get almost 30%, which is right here. Operations gets only 13%, so most of the money income is going to the administrators and not the people that are doing the work. Here we have machinists. They get 6.61%, and you can see how many there are. We have 2 administrators, 2 machinists, 3 in operations. So it's just another way of sorting out things. I'm going to show you how we got to the percentage again. I'm going to come to sum of salary. Click the down arrow, go to value field settings, and I'm going to click on show values as. Percentage of grand total, it's right there. I could put no calculation and go back to summarizing the values. We would click it and it will come right out to here. But just to review it, sum of salary, click the down arrow, value field settings, show values as, click on it where it says no calculation. We want percentage of the grand total. Now suppose we wanted to add some names to this list. So let's just try last name. Click on that, and you can see we have this list here. But it would be nice to have their first name in there too, in case there's two people with the same last name. We can solve that using the concatenate. So I'm going to make this a little smaller so you can see it better. Because we have one column for first name, one column for last name, but wouldn't it be nice to have the first name and the last name in the same row? If I were to just try to get the first name in here, I would have to, it would be down below it. You can see Margaret Thatcher, Stuart Jimmy, and so on like that. It'd be better to have them all on one line. So I'm going to delete that. And what we're going to do is just do a little formula over here. It's called concatenate. And we're going to combine these two so that it comes to one cell. So how we'll do that real quick, we've got to give it a title. Concat. We'll go to formulas. Concat is right there. The first value is, we'll do last name first. The second value is we're going to have to put a comma and a space because we want a comma and a space between the last name and the first. And then we'll have this one right here, first name. We'll click OK. And we will drag down. And I'll make this larger. Now we're going to have to change something. This third one, it didn't quite get in there. So we're going to add a comma, and we'll go back. Now we've got I5 and H5 in there. And enter, and now we'll autofill down. So we have to change our pivot table now to incorporate this new area, because like I said in the last video, it does not automatically update. So we're going to have to go to the pivot table, analyze, change data source. So go to pivot table, touch the pivot table first, analyze, and change data source. And just going to drag it over to get one more in there. And click OK. So now, when we select this, we want our field list to show up. We have a new row right there, concat. So now I don't need the last name in there. As you can see, I have the names together, all on one row. The other interesting thing is, if you wanted to make it smaller, you can always just click on this. There we have administration, construction, machinist, all on one area. I'm going to make this bigger so you can see it. But of course, I can click the plus and open up the whole area for more information. Okay, let's move on to the next project. Let's just say we want to figure out those who have CE hours. So let's just say we want the names of those that have more than 55 CE hours, continuing ed. So we'll go back here. Let's see, CE hours is right there. Let's get the names of these people in here. Let's do concat or concatenate. And that's the list of the people and the hours. But we only want the higher numbers or the lower numbers. What we want to select is the CE hours. And I could select off all and just say, well, I only want those in there. Or maybe those over 30. There we go. What's interesting is that this did not automatically reduce. So what I have to do is I have to put CE hours here and CE hours there. And for some reason, the filter in that case doesn't seem to work so well. So if I put CE hours here and some of CE hours here, then it will show the filtered numbers, the people with the CE hours that I wanted to know that were over 30. We could say those that are under 30. So let's go back here. I'm going to change all that. I want to change it to values less than, let's bring this down so you can see it, less than 25. We'll click OK. And this is a list of those that are less than 25. So these people have to get more CE hours in. It's just one of those things that I've noticed that you have to have in some cases it here and here, the sum here and the CE hours here, in order for this particular filter to work. Okay, let's try another, try something else. Let's filter it. Let's just take all of these off. And let's just say we want to filter countries by the United States. So that will be country. And we've got 4 countries there. So let's go right over here to filter. And I can click here and just say I only want the United States. And that's one way to do it. I'm going to take that filter off and select them all again. Another way to do it is just to drag it into the filters area. And right here I click on that and it's kind of the same thing. I just want the USA. But now we have to have something else besides the USA. So let's just take concat. Those are the ones from the United States. Let's add salary. Since it's numbers, it automatically popped over there. And let's add gender. It's actually a little bit hard to read. So what we're going to do is we're going to put gender above concatenate. So what I want you to do is come down here and drag this up, or you can click the down arrow and just say move up, move down, depending on whatever works for you. Now there's another interesting thing here, and that is subtotals. You can see we've got a subtotal here for male, subtotal here for female, and the grand total is right there. Let's just say if we wanted to change the subtotal so it looked a little bit different. We're going to come down here, click on this, go to design, and I want you to look right over here. You can say do not show subtotals, and you can see how that just went away. Let's click on it again. You could say show subtotals at the bottom or show subtotals at the top. Let's try it at the top. And you can see it's right there. So there's different ways you can play with the subtotals. If you wanted to, you could get rid of the grand total. I'm actually going to get rid of this field list so I have more room. I'll click on this and go to design and grand totals. Off for rows or columns, on for rows or columns, on for rows only, on for columns only. Let's just say off for rows and columns. We got rid of the grand total, as you can see right there. But the grand total is nice, so we'll click on it. On for columns only, and there it was. So it's good to know that you can put the subtotals wherever you want them to be. It's good to play with that a little bit. Okay, let's try another project. Okay, next project, let's compare full-time employees to part-time employees. We'll select this, come over to Analyze, and right there, Show and Field List. I'm going to bring that back. Okay, let's get rid of this and this and this. Let's see. And I want to get rid of that. Full-time and part-time. Well, that would be right there. Position and regions. So take position and region. It's a little bit hard to read this way, so what we could do is drag position over here And that might make it a little bit easier to read. And we want the number of people in these groups. So let's just take any field that we want, basically. I'm just going to take last name. And I'm going to drag it over to the values one, because it's going to be the count. And that's all we want is a count. So we have 2 full-time, right there, 2 full-time administrators, 1 construction person, 1 machinist that are full-time. We have a musician. The musician is part-time, which is right there. Operations and sales, and so on. If you were to select this, the grand total, you would see right at the bottom, right there, it's 15. So we still have 15 employees. It's one way to check your work. So let's change it around. Let's say we want to go by region instead. Midwest, Northwest. Supposing we're really only interested in the Southwest. So what we could do is we could click this little key right here. Click that minus sign. And then we have most of our information is about the Southwest. And if we want to spruce up this chart or this graph, we could select it. Come to design, to analyze, and right there where it says show, we'll get rid of the field thing. We'll get rid of the plus minus buttons. So I'll click it and you can see the plus minus buttons will go away. And field headers. So now you have something that looks pretty nice. You have the old information, or you have the information about the different regions, but you have a lot more detail about the Southwest. And the last project is we're going to compare the CE hours between last year's and this year's. So we'll click on this. Since we've clicked on it and it doesn't appear, we're going to have to go to Analyze and Show and choose Field List. Okay. Let's just try CE hours right there. Get rid of this one, remove field. And compare it between this year and last year. Dates are kind of unique. When you select them, it put all of the dates in there. And you'll notice right down here, it's years popped in there. So we want to get rid of quarters. And I'm actually going to get rid of the date. So we just have the years. Now we could do it if we move down to here and selected the down arrow. We could just select all, deselect all, and only select 16 and 17. And that would get us that information. Of course, I can add more information here. Concatenate. Go over here, show, add the buttons, and then I can show information about that. Thank you for watching.